Okay, so today, to play with your kids and deepen that connection a little bit, you are going to find each other's tickle spots. It's the tickle spot game. And you may already know each other's tickle spots, which is great for you because you start with an advantage. But you're going to try to find new tickle spots. And yes, it becomes a tickling game. Feel free to let it deteriorate into a complete free-for-all of tickling. Let it go where it wants to go. And yeah, it's just about touching and playing and giggling and smiling, but it's also about boundaries a little bit, right? Because sure as the world, whenever tickle fights start, there's always a moment of like, okay, too much, right? Or I'm laughing, and that kid is laughing, and then it starts to border on crying, and you're not sure, if it's like when to back off. And you and the kids both need that kind of exercise in boundaries too, because even though this is fun and it's playful, and we have to kind of understand, like, in its essence, we are aggravating the other. There's the agitation. It's a form of agitation in the form of tickling, right? There's like a level of agitation that's happening that's like stirring you and tickling you because it's mild and you can laugh about it. But then, it can be like, okay, overwhelm, like stop, too much, too far. That happens a lot. At least in my family, it does. When we play tickle fight, it also becomes a thing about some boundaries, which is helpful and useful and definitely deepening for our connection because we're playing and there's fun and we know that we've started with this level of enjoyment and there's touch and there's closeness and there's eye contact and there's all of that, the laughter. But there's also like, okay, we've got to trust each other to like let you tickle me or trust each other. And that's kind of not the game. We're trying to not let them do it, right? I mean, it's like, the fun is the chase a little bit too. But there's also trust in it too, because it's like, okay, now I'm being tickled and I'm laughing and I'm trusting that when I say, okay, enough, then it's enough. And that person will back off, and then that person's learning about boundaries too. They're learning where mine are, and they're learning to read my face and to read my sounds and to read my body language. And when someone's had enough, if you know them well enough and if you're willing to stay aware and engaged enough. And you know that about your kids. You can tell when they've had enough of all kinds of things. And they need to learn that too, of, when is that person had enough? Their sibling. When is their sibling had enough? When is it not fun? Same thing with mom or whatever, so I find tickle fight to have like all these other hidden little bonuses too, where it's like, yeah, we're deepening by learning each other's boundaries and learning how to watch the other person and, sort of figure out what is okay and when is it not okay, when is it like too much. And then the communication, like let the person know that you're ready to be done, or no, not that spot, that actually hurts, or before it gets to the point of like I'm mad or I'm aggravated or sad or crying or feeling totally, because that's what the crying comes from, right? It's like I feel like totally disrespected, or like nobody was hearing me or noticing me, and that's, or I'm overstimulated, I'm aggravated. And can we stop it or notice those things before it gets to that point, or can we communicate that before it gets to that point? Because it goes both directions. Somebody's got to communicate it, somebody's got to be watching for it. And then lastly, what is our willingness like when it does happen, when we do get a little overstimulated and we have to say back off, this exercises our willingness to jump back in with trust. Okay, I said okay, it's like too much, I'm not liking the tickle, the person backed off, and then am I willing to re-engage, and how quickly, and can I open back up some trust? Did that build some trust because I know they're willing to back off when I say so, and all of that? Or did I get too overstimulated and too aggravated and I'm kind of shut down for a second? That probably means that I didn't communicate it soon enough, or they didn't notice it soon enough, or whatever. And I'm gonna need a second, and then I'm gonna work through and get to that willingness to jump back into the tickle fight. So like I said, tickle fight is fun, but it's got like all these other little bonuses in there that I think are really great tools to know for life, but also great tools for being able to deepen with some people that are really intimate and close, like family and your kids, you know? So let's see how it goes.